All right. Hey, you guys, I'm so excited. Okay, we are recording and we are live on Facebook. So excited for Monday Motivation. Thank you guys all so much for hopping on and taking time out to get poured into and to grow yourself so that you can be better in this business and a better person and just better all the way around. I truly believe that these Zooms and when we get together like this, it really makes a big difference in how we go out there and we present ourselves and we present the business. I am so excited for you guys tonight. We have a special guest, and she is our very own Triple Diamond Upline. She's absolutely amazing. You guys, when I started this business 6 years ago, I started with a person who was my friend. And as many of you guys know, I was stalking her Facebook. I started as a loyal customer, stalked her Facebook, saw that she was a stay-at-home mom with her two little boys and making way more money than I was making. And of course, I was like, what is this? Like, if I can sell these wraps, if I had already loved the wraps, but I was like, if I could sell these wraps, to what is this? This is driving me nuts. If I can sell these wraps to like my mother-in-law, my mom, my sister-in-law, like I can at least make an extra $200 to $300 a month. She was making more than I was making full-time at the time. But my first, I want to say I went Ruby in my first 6 weeks. And when I was getting ready to promote to Diamond, I had a huge team and everything. My sponsor left and went to another company. And I knew Shawna because Shawna was her sponsor and I had met her. I was totally starstruck at an event and I got to meet her, and she's the sweetest person you'll ever meet, you guys. We are so blessed to have her as our upline. But she reached out and she pulled me up. She could have easily, continued with growing her business. I was just some little Ruby in her downline, but she reached out to me, and I am super grateful that she saw something in me that I hadn't seen in myself yet. And she reached out and she was there for me. She was very supportive and she helped me grow and go diamond and go double. Like, it's been amazing. So I'm so excited for you guys to hear her story. She is a resilient mother. She is a beautiful friend, and we just love her so much. So, Shawna, if you want to come on and just share a little bit of your story, and then we'll get into like Q&A for you.
Perfect. Hey guys, I know most of you, but for the ones that don't, hi, my name is Shawna Martinez. So I got started in this business about 7 years ago, and I was a full-time hairstylist, and I was working 12-hour days at the salon. And I just remember someone came in one day, like usual, people always would come in and try to sell stuff. And she came in with a Blitz card and she was like, you got to try these wraps. You got to try these wraps. And you know what? I was that person that you are going to run into that is a total skeptic. I was like, no way. There's no way that works. Like, girl, bye. Like, I've tried everything. Like, there's no way that works. So she moved on to the next person, and someone else at my salon ended up signing up as a distributor. And every day she would bug me, you got to try a wrap. You got to try a wrap. You got to try a wrap. And I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is not going to leave me alone until I finally try one. So I bought one just to be like, okay, I tried one, like, leave me alone now. And it actually worked. And so that's when I was like, wait a second, okay, this wasn't supposed to work. So I bought another one and it worked again. And that's when I was like, okay, like, I got something on my hands here. Well, I was at the salon the next day, and my first 3 or 4 clients of the day were like, oh my gosh, did you lose weight? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't think I lost weight, but I did this wrap, and oh my gosh, I could definitely tell a difference. And they're like, well, what is it? And so I sent them to the girl that I bought mine from. And so after like the third or fourth person that I sent over to her, I was like, wait a second, I want more of these. I can't afford them. Like, I could be making this money myself. What am I doing? So I used money that was meant for bills that month, and I signed up as a distributor. Mind you, I was living in a 1-bedroom, cockroach infested apartment with my husband and our 2 kids. Yes, all of us were snuggled up in 1 bedroom, and we were collecting cockroaches in Ziploc bags. That's how badly our apartment was infested. And so this is the place that I was at in my life. I was working so hard, 12-hour days, to try to save up any extra money I could to move us into a different apartment. And I was just stuck. I just felt stuck. And so, like I said, I used money that was meant for bills and I got my business started. And I was so excited. For the first couple seconds, I was like, my husband's going to kill me. Oh my gosh, I need to make that money back like right away. So I worked my business. And the day I got started, I signed up my 4 customers and I got my, at that time, if you signed up 4 customers, you got a product, like free product. So I got that. And then I signed up my first distributor and I got her 2 customers. And so I earned $100 fast start bonus. So the day I got started, I earned all of my money back. And I already was $100 ahead because I got that fast start. So I was just feeling absolutely amazing after my first day. I had seen such incredible results with myself that I knew that there were so many more people out there like me that was feeling overweight after having 2 kids. It just felt like I almost felt like, okay, I'm just supposed to look like this because I'm a mom. But after those wraps, I had such good results that I was like, wait a second, no, I don't have to look like this. And so the more I used the products, the more confident I got, and the more people were like banging down my door. What are you doing? You look so good. So my business just started to explode because the more I used the products, the better I looked, the more I could not stop talking about it. So I promoted to executive my first month. I promoted to Ruby my second month. I promoted to Emerald my third month. And that's when our upline, Chad Caneller, was like, you have to go to conference. And yes, I was making a good check as Emerald, but to me, that check was going towards getting us into a different apartment. Like that was my number one goal at that point. And I was on the phone with him and I'll never forget. We were talking and he's like, you have to go to conference. And I was like, no, I can't afford to go to conference. He's like, use your Emerald check and get to conference. And I was like, no, I can't afford it. I'm using that check to get us into a different apartment. Like, I can't afford to go. And he said, you can't afford not to go. And if you really listen to that, you can't afford not to. And I just sat there and I really soaked that in and took that in for a second. As much as I was moving really quickly in the company and I was doing really well, going to these events and being around people that you're going to relate to in a totally different way that you're going to relate to me or Natty or Meech. There's going to be somebody in this company that's going to look like you, that's going to talk like you, that's going to have gone through the same stuff you did, and they're going to be on stage getting inducted into the Millionaires Club. And that's what happened for me. I used my check that month and I went to conference, and I'm sitting there as my check went from Emerald. I dropped down to Ruby because it was Christmas and I wasn't working my business as much. So in January, I was getting paid about $500, and I'm sitting at conference, and Brooke Tomatich went across the stage, and she was that person for me. She was a hairstylist, just like I was. She had blonde hair, she was around the same age as me, but she was actually a little bit younger, and she was getting inducted into the Millionaires Club. And I was going home to collect cockroaches in Ziploc bags to beg the apartment people to move us to a different apartment. And for a second, I was just like, I started bawling. And I'm like, why? Like, that's not fair. Like, that's not fair that she's up there getting to go home as a millionaire and I'm going home to collect cockroaches in Ziploc bags. And I had that moment for myself when I really had to make a decision. I can either feel sorry for myself or I can get to work and I can change my family's life just like she did. And so I chose to get to work. And so that's what I did. I got to work. I booked more wrap parties than I've ever done. I mean, clearly I had never done them before, so that probably wasn't the right thing to say, but I had booked more wrap parties than I ever thought I would end up doing. I did a wrap party almost every night. I really worked my business person to person at that point. Not that social media, I just didn't have a social media. So I worked my business face to face. I got out there and I talked to everybody that would listen. And I offered them the products or the opportunity. And that's really all it is just teaching people what we have and letting them make the decision. And so that's what I did. Everybody, I called my aunt, I called every aunt I had, I called my cousins, I called everybody that was in my contact list, and I asked them to do me a favor and to host a wrap party for me. And so the next month I went diamond and I earned $10,000 bonus. The month after that I went double diamond and I earned a $15,000 bonus, and my husband went diamond and he earned 10,000. So that was in March. The next month I went triple diamond, and then the month after that my husband went double. So we earned over $75,000 in bonuses, and our check that month was $14,000. So we went from making 500 in January to 14,000 in May. I want to say either April or May. It was life changing. As you can imagine, we didn't move into a different apartment. We threw those bags of cockroaches in the trash and we rented a big, beautiful house, and we bought our dream cars. We just started living that life that the girl on stage was living, and not the girl collecting cockroaches in Ziploc bags was living. And it's really just because I made that decision. There was nothing different in me. I'm the girl that used to collect cockroaches in Ziploc bags. But I went to work and I did what it took. Instead of feeling sorry for myself, I put that same energy into what can I do to change it? And that's what I did. So that's my story. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. That's just like, and you speaking about it, because I know, we haven't talked about it in a while, and I haven't heard your story in a while. And it just brings back all these memories because, you started, and I think I want to say I started like a year, maybe a year after you. And I just remember hearing your story and just everything that you were going through and everything that, going home. I mean, conference one, I'm going to tell you guys, for me, conference was everything. The experience that I had at my first conference, I went with my mom. I was also a Ruby making $500, like $400 to $500. My mom had just started the business with me too. And so we were doing it together. And I remember at the end, so if you guys have not yet been to a conference, and I know this one's virtual, but it's still the experience of it is going to be amazing. But I remember all the lights went out and he came out and announced like these crazy bonuses. And I knew that Shawna had already earned them. So my sponsor at the time had also earned hers. So I knew they were real. But when he announced it right then and there, I just remember grabbing my mom's hand and we were both in tears. And we were like, we're gonna go home and we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna make this happen. And right after conference, that was in a January. I came home in February, promoted to diamond, earned that bonus, and then went double diamond the next year right after conference too. And you guys, I just remember I was on the phone with Shawna when I went diamond. I ran outside and I was like, and oh my gosh, it's just one of those experiences that you can never ever forget and just cherish forever. And you talking about conference just really made me relive that entire experience again. And I don't miss conference, guys. And if you guys haven't got your conference ticket, I know that the early bird is not for sale anymore or whatever, but you guys figure out a way to get on that virtual event. Like, it's life changing. There's so many things that we learn, so many nuggets that we hear, so many ahas that we have, just like Shawna had it, when she saw Brooke go across the stage and had that realization that if she can do it, I can do it. Like, I'm seeing myself literally walk across that stage. And I see that, every time I go to a conference and I see these leaders on the stage, I see the same thing. I'm like, God, she's just like me. Like, her story's like mine. Or I think about Claire Flores. Her husband was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer at the probably a few months after Rich was diagnosed. And so you look up to these people and you start to realize, like, if they can get through these things, so can I. But you really don't get to know them until you attend a conference and you see who they are, right? Because you can't just magically find them on social media. You go and you see that. So I love that. Now let's talk about some wins, because you've done a lot of stuff since you've been promoting? Like, one, of course, your beautiful home. That house was amazing. I remember going up there. Oh, it was so beautiful. But let's talk about what other big thing that you did when you got out of the house, because you did some pretty awesome stuff and got to like try, like, I'm not gonna say it. I'll let you say it.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
gosh.
let's
So
talk about that remodel, because woo, y'all, if you don't follow on Instagram, oh my goodness.
Oh, so we lived in that house for it was about 4 years. And that's when we got to the point where we were like, why? Well, actually, what happened was my daughter's best friend passed away. And that was when I had that aha moment of, what are we doing? Like, why are we staying in such like I needed to go. I needed to get out. I needed to do something different. So we moved out of the house and we bought a brand new, super expensive 38-foot fifth wheel, completely ripped the whole thing apart and renovated the whole entire thing just to make it look and feel like a house. And so my plan at that point was, life is so short. Tomorrow is definitely not promised. I want to show my kids the country. Like, I want to go, I want to explore, I want to see new places, I want to do new things. Like, I just went, we had so many losses. It was my husband's best friend's wife with the Vegas shooting, and then my sister in law's. It was just one after another. And my daughter's best friend was like, oh, oh my gosh, tomorrow is not promised. Like, we need to make a change. And so, because I work from my phone and I have that income and flexibility to do what I want when I want, it's about that freedom that you can't have working a 9 to 5 job. So, we moved into the RV, and then our plan was we were going to travel the country. Well, sometimes things don't work out the way that you think they are. My mom was wanting to buy a restaurant and she couldn't do it on her own. She needed an investor. And so I flew out to Washington. I looked at the restaurant. I thought it was a great investment. I put money into it to help her buy this restaurant. And we traveled in our fifth wheel, which is so cool to just be able to get up and go. We packed literally everything into the fifth wheel and we traveled for a while. We took our time getting there. We got to see places and it was just a really cool experience. And so we got to Washington and now we're like, okay, cool. Now we're restaurant owners. Like, what is going on right now? And so I did that for like 7 or 8 months. And I realized that the restaurant life is not for me. That's not something I want to do. Little did I know, when you buy a restaurant, you are tied to it every day, no breaks, no holidays. If you don't open the door, you guys aren't making money and you can't pay your employees. And so quickly I learned, okay, oh my gosh, I am so blessed to have it works. Again, it comes back to that freedom. And so I don't regret it. I'm so thankful that I was able to help my mom do that because her and my stepdad successfully run that business now, but it wasn't for me, so I backed out and I go and visit her for coffee almost every day, but because of that, we now are in a place that we would have never ever thought. My kids are absolutely in love with their school. When we decided that the restaurant wasn't for us, I was like, okay, well, where are we going to go next? Like, let's go to a new place. Let's go explore. And my kids were like, if you leave, we're not leaving. Like, they have made such solid friendships and just, we're in a really small town and just, it's what we've always wanted, not knowing what we wanted. We just have those friendships and connections that we never thought possible. And so we ended up buying a house. So we are now homeowners and we did the same thing that we did to the RV. It's a brand new house, by the way. It's a brand new house, but I didn't get to pick all the things. So we were able to rip the whole entire thing apart, and now we're in the process of putting the whole entire thing back together. And so it's just a cool experience to be able to go somewhere, visit, and say, oh my gosh, I love this. I want to stay here because of this business. Like none of this would have been possible if it wasn't for this business. So things are going to happen in life that you're not expecting, and curveballs are going to be thrown your way that you are not expecting. And because of this business, it gives you that freedom to kind of roll with it, and just some amazing things could come from that.
I love that. I love that you mentioned that. And just, we think about when we first started, it wasn't as big as social media is like now. I mean, we did work it on social media, but we were doing wrap parties and events. And just to think that back then it was like that. And then like what we have morphed into now, to where now you can live in a little town. You don't need a huge city. You don't need, to have these huge events. You don't need to do any of that because it's all from social media. And right now, y'all, she's living in the snow. Like if you guys have watched her stories, her kids are sleighing in the front yard. Like it's like a dream, right? Like a whole winter wonderland already over there. And it's just so amazing that you can literally like work from your phone at whatever time you want to on your time, on your schedule. And just to know that, it's grown to that, and to know where we're going next, because especially with everything that's happened now, with the shutdowns and the quarantines and us not being able to even do wrap parties, because we were wrap party queens. Like we used to have wrap parties all the time. It was just so much fun. But to think to now where we're at now, how that has set us up, with us growing on social media and learning so much more about social media, that we're able to teach it a lot better. The resources that we have now, the trainings that we're able to provide now, we didn't have that back then. And we have such, like, it's just incredible what it's growing and blossoming into. And it just makes me more excited to really think about where it's going. And Mark has so much in store for us, you guys. We haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg yet. Like, it's constantly just something bigger, something bigger, something bigger. So I love that. And I'm just so excited for you guys. Like, I see your guys' video. Riker looks so happy. Your daughter looks so happy. And there's just something about small towns, you guys. Like, I grew up in a really small town. My graduating class was less than 100 people. Like, when you grow up that way, I don't know. It's just, you have friends that you'd never want to leave. Like, it's just more tight knit. And so I remember growing up, my mom wanted to move to Fresno, and I was like, no, I cannot leave my friends. So I understand exactly how they feel now that they have established a foundation there. But you get to, leave when you want to and go do the things when they're on vacation. Shoot, your house is a vacation house for the winter. Like,
Aw.
seriously. I love it. So now let's get into some, like we were talking about, curveballs and life happening, and it not always being a highlight reel. Like we do, we're humans and life happens to all of us. And I know that you have gone through so much, because I know you personally. I know a lot of the things that you have gone through, and you're so resilient. And one thing you guys don't know about Shawna, she's loyal as heck, y'all. Like, this girl, like, you don't even understand. She's a sweetheart. She is loyal. I have never had an issue or a problem. We've never had that. You know what I mean? That's very hard to find when it comes to new friends. When you make new friends, when you meet new people, because I met her through my sponsor, and we've gone through valleys and hills and valleys in the business, with different things, with drama and all these things. And I just watched her character, and it really inspired me on how I want it to be, right? You modeled a certain way when we're dealing with drama on how I want to model, right? And just for people to look at me and know that I'm solid and I'm loyal. Like, I really truly believe, like, you really modeled that for us, and we're so grateful that you did, because it could have easily flown, drama here, drama there, drama there. But I know you're an introvert, and you're not about that kind of life, right? And so with all the curveballs that have been thrown at you, and I know that you were going through a state of depression, and just talk to us about that, because I know a lot of us go through stuff like that, and we isolate, and Camille always says the enemy loves when we're isolated, because that's when he can influence us. And to know that you isolated for a while, and the enemy still couldn't influence you to stay away. Like that is just so inspiring. So if you can share on that and touch on that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, well, it's been 7 years that I've been in this business. And so life happens, and there are going to be things that happen when you're planning on being in a business forever. There are going to be things that, of course, we wish didn't happen that happen, and things that we're just not expecting. And so, like Meech said, her upline left, which was someone that was in my family and was very close to me. And so when that happened, I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to, this was in the beginning too. This was in the very beginning. We both had hit all of these promotions, and just there was a lot of drama going on, and she decided to leave, and I just felt like I was never going to be able to recover from that. But I didn't quit. I didn't leave. I didn't look at other companies and think, oh my gosh, maybe this company isn't for me. I have known from the very beginning that these products are the best products I've ever used, and that no matter what happens, I'm not going anywhere. And so slowly we completely rebuilt. And guess what happened? My business was better than it was at that point. And so, then life just happens again. And like I was telling you, my husband's best friend's wife was one of the victims of Route 91. And then 2 months later, we had a family member pass away. And then 2 months later, it was my daughter's best friend. And that's when my world was rocked. It was my daughter's best friend since kindergarten, and she died in a plane crash. And not being able to take that pain away from your child is really hard to deal with. I didn't have like the mom and dad that always were together and just this happy family. I was always going back and forth. And so me and my husband from the beginning were like, we're going to be together no matter what. We're going to make sure our kids don't have to deal with that. And so we tried so hard to just live out this perfect life for our children so that they never had to deal with what we had to deal with. And then for something like this that was completely out of our control, for my daughter to mourn such a hard loss was devastating to me. It was like another daughter of mine. And it took me a little while to be able to recover from that, because that's hard. That's really hard. And so obviously we moved out of our house, we got an RV, and we just did some crazy stuff after that. But I'm so thankful that I had the freedom to be able to do that. And it took me a really long time. I gained so much weight, which now I'm dealing with. I gained so much weight because of that, because I just felt like tomorrow's not promised. Like, why am I going to be on a diet when tomorrow's not promised? Like, I'm going to live my best life. We're going to have so much fun. We went to Disneyland way too much. We just extremely indulged for the last couple years, to be honest. And I have tried buying my kids stuff, making sure that like I tried to buy her grief away from her. And so I've been depressed and I've gained a ton of weight. And now, with everything that's going on in the world right now, it's just absolutely insane. I feel so thankful that we are where we are right now, because we are in such a small town. Riker has 11 kids in his class, and Cadence has 14 kids in her class. There's only one first grade, one second grade, one third grade. Like, she will graduate with 14 kids high school, and he will graduate with 11 unless people leave. Like, that's how small their school is. And so I feel so thankful that we're here right now, but it's like life is so crazy. Who would have thought that we would be going through a pandemic? Like, no one would picture that happening. And so my business has really suffered. I'm not going to lie. I had a double diamond leave because I made the mistake of talking about politics on social media, and I wish I could take it back. I can't. And one of my top leaders decided to leave, even though I have done nothing to her to ever make her feel a certain type of way. But you know what? She felt like joining another team was going to be better for her. So she decided to leave. And then one of my other top leaders just decided that she didn't want to have to go through the valleys of this business and that it would be better to join another business. And you know what? I have always said that my whole entire team could leave me and that I will start from scratch. And I mean that with the bottom of my heart, because this company has done so much for me and my family. How could I ever decide to join another company? Like, this company has done that for my family. Just because my business has crumbled a little bit or a lot, that's on me. I went through something. I went through life. I had stuff happen. That doesn't mean that that it works isn't the right place, because there are so many people that are having massive success right now. Hello, look at this team right here. I am getting dings and dings and dings left and right from you guys. It is absolutely insane. So that's something that's so crazy too, is it's like, just because a bunch of people decided to leave my business doesn't mean that I'm going to leave the business. They're leaving because they're leaving, but that doesn't mean that it works. Still isn't the same company that is changing lives every single day. And when I said I will never leave this company, I will rebuild from zero distributors all over again, I mean it, because I told you guys what's happened to my family. I told you guys all of the stuff that we have been through. And for me, I personally don't feel like joining another company is going to be any different. You're still doing the same exact thing, except with products that might not always be in high demand. And that's one thing, is we have health and wellness products that no matter what you're going through, a darn pandemic, people need to get healthier now more than ever. So that just shows me even more that we have products that people not only want, that people really need. And so I am so excited to see where this journey takes us. My feet are completely planted. I'm not going anywhere. I have a lot of work to do though. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys my paychecks are $14,000, because right now they're not, but that doesn't mean that they won't be again. And so that's something about this business, is that I don't want to scare you and make it like, oh, you're going to build this business and then it's totally going to crumble. But I stopped working. And so if you go to work every day and you just stop showing up, you're going to get fired. The great thing about this business is that, yeah, you might be able to slack off for a little bit. Your check's gonna show that. But the great thing about this business is that you don't have somebody breathing down your neck telling you you have to be here from this time to that time. And yes, you can take your lunch now. And no, you can't go pick up your kid that's sick. What's amazing about this business is that we have that freedom to be able to work it whenever we want to. But with that freedom, we also have to be our own boss. And so we have to light our own fires. We have to stay close to the fire. We have to do all these things that we know that we need to do. And yeah, I'm the first one to admit I stopped showing up for myself. I stopped showing up to Zooms. I stopped training my team. I stopped looking for potentials. I stopped working my business. And that's what I needed to go through to be at the spot where I'm at now, where I'm the heaviest. I'm heavier today than when I delivered my son. Like, that's ridiculous. But it's okay, because I feel so motivated and just so ready to make a change that I'm now down over 9 pounds in less than 2 weeks from using these products. I feel so good. I have so much energy, and I am ready to build the strongest team that I've ever had ever. So that's what I love, is that we get to write our own paycheck. Like, I can't be mad that my paycheck's not $14,000 right now, because that is my fault. But I can be excited knowing that if I work my butt off, my paycheck will be $14,000. Because if I went and got a job because I was like, well, my team crumbled, so that was a lot of work, I don't really want to do that again, so I'm just going to go get a job. I can't tell my boss I want to promote and make $14,000 in 6 months. They will literally laugh me off the job. But with It Works, you can do that. And so I am just so excited. I'm so ready. You guys, next time you probably see me, I'm going to be down 10 more pounds, because I am just so excited to see what's coming. And we have such an awesome team. I'm so excited and so thankful that we have such, okay, so this is the thing, is I was on a VIP call last week, and they talked about your circle and how important it is to protect your circle, and how important it is to protect the influence that you're letting in. And where what I went through would have, and clearly has, broken a lot of people and have made them do things that they wouldn't normally do, it's made me be like, okay, let's go. What do I got to do? We're going back to the top. I want my $14,000 checks back. I might not be in that same mindset if I didn't have such amazing people in my life. And so it's so important to make sure that you're listening to the right people, because it breaks my heart, the people that leave, they let outside influences into their circle. And that's one thing that I will make sure that I have never done and will never do. And I really want to make sure that you guys understand how important it is to stay close to that fire, and to stay close to people that are breathing life into you, and don't let the enemy distract you and think that the grass is greener somewhere else. Because every time somebody leaves, they realize that it's not, and then they come back, and then they have to start all over again. Like, why not just keep going? Why start over and over and over? Just keep going. So I probably rambled on for way too long, but that was
Oh my gosh, that is so good. And let me tell you guys, my sponsor that left has already been in like 10,000 different companies. I know she would love nothing but to come back, but pride and ego is a mofo. But anyway, everybody that I have seen that has left has done whatever they were doing here, the same, that's what they do over there, and expect they're doing, what is it, insanity? You do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. It's the same thing. Like, you're still, no matter what company you go to, no matter what team you hop to, you're still dealing with you. Like, it's still you that you're taking to this different company, to this different team. So whatever you're doing here, if you're doing that there, you're gonna get the same results. For me, I'm a lifer. You guys already know, 6 years in, I'm not going anywhere. It works, like Shawna was saying, has done so much for my family that for me, it's like, how can I turn my back on them? And not just that, my team. How can I bring in people and tell them that I'm gonna show you how to do this, this, and that, and then at one point just say, you know what, you're on your own, and just leave. Like, I can never leave and abandon my team like that. You know what I mean? To go to try something different, or to go and do a different company, like, because I know what it feels like to be left and abandoned. And not just that, take my team with them. You know what I mean? Like, Shawna knows, like, when that happened, I was almost diamond, and she took all of my team with her. All of my team went, and it was like,
and then my upline went and took both of our teams.
yeah, and it was like, oh
Like,
my
that, it's
God.
gonna happen. People from your team are going to leave. Like, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Mhm.
And then when again, like, it's gonna happen. This business isn't for everybody.
Mhm.
But what we know, because we've been in for 6 and 7 years, is that everybody that does leave never stays with just one company. They hop back and back and back and back, because they're trying to find what they had here.
Yep.
And it's like until they come back here, then they realize, oh my gosh, for
Yep.
example, Jess Paluzik,
Mhm.
who is Chad and Jerry's #1 top income earner, did that. She left for the same company that my sister-in-law left for,
Mhm.
Meech's
Sponsor.
sponsor.
Hmm.
And so she left and realized, oh my gosh, this isn't my home. And she came back and she's now presidential diamond and the #1 income earner on Chad and Jury's team. Like nobody that leaves, it ends up happy. And that's what's sad for us is because we see it happen over and over and over again. And every time we're like, oh no, like when are they going to come back? And then they always do, or they just keep flailing from one to another because they're looking for what they had here. And it's so special. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in this company. I probably would have left a long time ago if I didn't feel what I feel here. We are in a company where our CEO has a heart of gold, and that's really rare to find. We're a Christian based company that puts God first. Like, that's really rare to find a company that wants what is best for us and isn't just in it for themselves. And
Mhm.
so they pour that into us. And so we get to pour that into other people. And we have something that nobody else has. And that is why everybody that leaves ends up switching 10 million times because they're trying to find it, but it's right here.
Mhm. Yep. Oh my gosh. I love that. And see, I'm not going to waste my time trying to go and find it somewhere else. I'm just going to build here and build here and build here and just become the person that I want to attract into my business, right? Not, don't be a complainer. Whatever it is that you want in your business, be that. Right? Be optimistic. I'm not saying be all colorful butterflies and rainbows all the time because obviously we know that that's not possible because life is life and it's unfair to all of us. But if you want like an ambitious runner, somebody who's just going to go all in and wants, everything that you want, then you got to be that. And you will attract those into your business. You will attract those runners. And, Chad always talks about like the deck of cards. You got to go through that deck of cards to find your four aces. And you're going to come across the jokers. You're going to come across people who are, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're going to come across people who are, 2% in or whatever. But you have to go through that deck of cards as many times as you can. The faster you can get through it, the faster you're going to find your four aces every time. But they're there. That's a guarantee. That's something that we know for sure. They're out there. There's a ton of Meeches out there. I just got to go out there and find them. That's my job, to go out there and find them and help them, because they have a story just like mine. They have kids. They're a mom. There's Shawna has to go out and find the Shawnas of the world that want this and that, that are going through the same things that she's gone through. All of us have little us's out there. We just got to go find them and attract them and just be what it is that we want in our new distributors and our new team members and our leaders. So as you're growing in this business and you're going ruby and emerald and diamond, be the kind of leader that you want your leaders to be on your team. Do you want them to show up? Do you want them to be ambitious? Do you want them to take the lead? Do you want them to go out and do, the things that we're doing here, Zooms and lead trainings and do newbie Zooms and do all, be that. Even at a Ruby, be that. I created my own page at Ruby. I probably shouldn't have. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just copycatting all the right cats. I was like, let me just do what she's doing. And even now, I still do. I still copy the right cats. I still do because there's leaders. Like I said, Claire Flores she's the one that I just relate to so much. And I just like follow her lead. She has no idea who I am, but just watching how she carries herself with her kids and with her husband and the journey that they've gone on, it's just, for me, it's so inspiring. And that's the kind of leader that I really, really aspire to be. I just want to be a little Mark, to be honest. But anyway, but yeah. So Natty, I know you probably had some things that you wanted to add. I'm gonna pin you on here, and then you can unmute yourself if there's anything that you want to ask or go over. Let me see.
Oh, honestly, you guys are killing it. I'm just like, I'm just over here head nodding. And then I'm like blowing up the chat. But no, Shawna, your story is so inspiring. And just to hear from you tonight and just for you to be so transparent. And you guys, that's the truth is like, I remember meeting Shawna, and Shauna is just the sweetest. And we're so lucky, we're so blessed to have an upline that refuses to give up and always is like and is planted, because I was even on the Pam Souter Zoom or earlier or live or whatever, and these girls were like, I wish I had a upline like Morgan or Nina, and I was thinking, Jade Hooper. I mean, here's the thing, it's not an excuse because Jade Hooper's like top 5, right? And her upline quit. But a lot of leaders, their upline quit and they had to figure it out on their own. And we're blessed to have an upline that actually stays and that actually keeps going. And we have like incredible leaders to learn from. So we're just really, really blessed to have, Shawna and Meech and just everyone, all the leaders that we have, Chad and Jaree, that just like pour into our teams and refuse to give up because the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's turf. Like it's turf. It's fake grass. And so, yeah, I know that we're all lifers, and this was so, so inspiring. So thank you for sharing, Shawna. And it's so crazy. I've heard Shawna's story so many times and it never gets old. It brings me back to the beginning of when, like, because I just remember, like, yeah, Meech had just gone diamond when I first met Shawna, and first joined this business. And Shawna was at the first event that I ever went to. And anyway, so it just brings me back to the beginning and then just to see you guys grow. And that's the thing, life is going to happen. Life is going to happen, but it's going to happen somewhere else too. Life happens everywhere. So it's just a matter.
No matter what, you're at your 9-to-5 job, no matter what. And that's the thing, is it's like now more than ever, it shows us that having something like this is so important. Look at how many people were on unemployment, and as a hairstylist, salons were locked down. And then at one point they're like, you could do hair outside. I'm like, who's going to be like hosing someone down outside? Like, how does that work? So it's just, you never know what's going to happen, but stuff is going to happen. And so that's why personal development, I mean, I know you guys have awesome leaders that pour this into you, but personal development and just being on those devotionals every morning, oh my gosh, absolutely amazing. I'm learning stuff about myself that I haven't learned before just by being on those. So
we're so glad. But yeah, this was awesome. Thank you so much, Shawna. And
you're
thank
welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you guys all for jumping on. We're going to transition now into the power hour. I'm going to stop the recording, but I will get it uploaded and it's in our Diamond Squad team page. So if you guys have team that wasn't able to hop on, you can tag them on there. But once I get the video upload, I'll get it out to you guys so that you guys can share it as well. Shawna, I know you want to save this so you can share it with, your team, because at the same time, I know we're one leg on your team, but you still have, other people that you're bringing in and they absolutely need to hear your story. They absolutely need to hear, the ups and the downs and the ugly and the good, the bad, the ugly. And a lot of times we think, oh, this business is just going to be all butterflies and rainbows. And we get to the top and we never work a day in our lives again. And God doesn't want that for us. And that's one thing that I've learned through this business and just learning more and building my relationship with God, is that He doesn't want us to stop working. We are made to work and continue to work. And, when I first started this business, I was like, I remember telling Rich, I'm going to get rich and I'm never going to work a day in my life again. Like, we're going to be rich millionaires and we're never going to have to do anything. That was my perception on money. That was my perception of millionaires. That was my perception of the rich get really rich up there and they don't do anything, but rich people work their butts off. They're mostly the richest people in the world are entrepreneurs, and you'll be surprised how they work 24/7, but it doesn't look that way because they love what they do. And so when you look at the people that are on top of this business and you see them and it looks like they're just living a vacation, that's their actual work. Like, that's what it looks like, right? But
they're the ones that are always at the top of the reports when they're announcing the top enrollers, the top recruiters for the month. It's always the top income earners.
Yep.
Why? because they're still working.
Yep. Yep. And that's one thing that and you know, when I started and my mindset was like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm never going to work a day in my life. Getting into this, you start doing the work and you start falling in love with the work. You start falling in love with not only your own wins, but seeing other people win and knowing that you helped that person win, knowing that you had a little influence on them promoting to what they promoted to, knowing that your story helped them a little bit more to keep pushing forward on the things that they wanted because they saw you get the things that you wanted, because they seen you persevere, because they seen you push forward, because they seen you be resilient and go through what you went through and still pushed and worked. This is fun work, right? This is fun work, you guys. It's social media. People are doing it and not getting paid. We're doing it and we're getting paid for it. Like, regardless of what it feels like, if it feels like, oh, I don't want a message or whatever, people are on social media sending out chain letters through messages. Like, they don't even realize it. They're messaging. They're just not messaging the right thing to bring in an income for themselves. We're messaging the right things to bring in an income for ourselves, to share our influence, to share our stories, and to share this opportunity and these products to help people. And that's fun. Like, it's fun. Who wouldn't want to get paid on social media? Like, social media is the bomb. We get to make TikToks, we get to make reels now, we get to make little videos, we get to be on YouTube. Like, that's the life, right? Like that's such a good life to even think about it. Like, you get paid just to be on social media, like to have fun with Titi on TikToks. Like, yes, I do, to share that with other people and show them that they can also do it. And so thank you so much, Shawna. I love you so much. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Again, I will get this uploaded and then I'm going to stop the recording now and we'll get right into the